Welcome back. Hey there, beautiful joy seeker, and welcome back to the I Am Changing podcast. I'm your host, Karen Humphries, and I'm a behavioral change specialist. Today, this episode 61, I'm talking to the very, very fabulous Zoe Jack. Welcome, Zoe. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, my goodness, audience. Zoe is an intuitive kinesiologist. She is a liminal practitioner, and you know we're going to be talking about that because this is lighting me up. We're already off. Liminal being the space between linking or bridging 3D and beyond into the quantum field. So we're going to be talking about all of that. But Zoe is so much more. So Zoe is also, she works with her kinesiology on primitive reflexes. She provides guided energy medicine or shamanic liminal work. She does online meditations. You will find her at Insight Timer, and I'll share the links for that. And she also runs women's circles. So welcome, Zoe. What a story you have to share with us today.
Thank you, Kaz. Lovely to be here.
Mouthful, doesn't it? Yeah. We got talking before, and I'm talking to the audience now. Zoe and I got talking before about what is a liminal practitioner. What is that? Let's talk about that.
Well, it's funny because I've not used that term before. I've always sat into this space of, I'm a kinesiologist. I use my intuition, and I get my intuition through knowing, and I get body movements, which give me, and I get physical sensations. So with my clients, I can feel where things are at, and I know what to do because I'm guided in that. But I wrote down the word shamanic practitioner, and for some reason it just didn't resonate.
Oh.
And so I was like, okay, well, what is this then? So I sat with it and I kind of went into it a bit, and the word liminal I'd heard only once or twice before, a little while ago, and it was never really something that resonated, but it seems to be hitting more and more. And the reason I like it is it's not just in the quantum field where there is no such thing as time and space. It's not in the 3D world where we're confined by time and space, but there is this space that's kind of like in between. And when I go into theta to do my shamanic work, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm sitting on the edge of a bridge and I jump off and I go into theta to do the work.
That makes so much sense, folks. Zoe and I were talking before how this year for me has been an incredible transformation year. And at the moment, the energy has been up and down and pulling me sideways and this ways. And I feel like I'm not in a spin cycle of the washing machine. I'm in the agitation mode. And for me, I feel like I was reading an email this morning by Kendall, and what came up for me was I'm radically reinventing myself. And normally when I've done that sort of energetic work, I've really sensed where I'm going. And at the moment, I'm going into nothing, and that is both exhilarating and terrifying all at once. Is this what liminal work is?
It comes with a lot of trust. Yeah. It comes with a lot of trust.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I really learned. Through kinesiology, I learned to muscle test. I learned to work with a person's body. Yep. And I got the biofeedback, and I could work with that, and that person would guide me with their body as to what they needed. But when I went and studied shamanic work, it was about trusting myself and the unknown, basically.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, you really get into a space of doubting yourself, because it's like I don't tend to get messages as pictures or words and things like that. I know it. Like it's like this trust in myself that I know what's needed. And I've had to build that trust up. And one of the things that I found was that when I double guess myself, it goes off. And so I've had to learn what is mine and what is my spiritual teams or my guided energy mentors' messages, as opposed to what am I putting into the picture.
Yeah.
So that's been really interesting to sort of step into that space and really actually having to trust and know what's mine and what's not mine.
I feel like for me, the last 5 years, I've absolutely been working on that trust in that all-knowing. And this year, it's almost like the guides are dropping away and I'm moving beyond that. So it's like, oh, this is all new and unknown. And it's not terrifying, but the knees kind of shake a little because the volume of uncertainty of, well, who am I in this meat suit now? And what am I doing? And then I get clients on the table like yourself. You just know I'm going to check everything like I normally do in accordance with the protocol. And then you'll get a sense there's something more. Let's go look for it just in case I've missed something. And lo and behold, you open up Pandora's box like, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it. I started off when I was doing this work in this sort of more trusting and knowing space. For me, it would come up like I'd be muscle testing, do we need an essential oil? Do we need a crystal? And I would get a movement in my body. And for some reason, I seem to do everything backwards. So yes becomes a backwards movement and no is a forwards movement. And what was really interesting was I would then get, like almost in my third eye, I would end up getting this. Oh, that's my husband bringing me a cup of tea.
Thank you.
And so what would happen was I would, in my third eye, I would know that there would be a word there. And often it would be things like, I'd go, do we need an essential oil? And it's like, before I've even finished it, it's like cypress or bergamot or something like that. And it's like, oh, so I go and get it and I put it on the body and I get a confirmation that that's what I've got to use. And so now I trust that more than I trust the body that I'm working with.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same. I don't have the movement in the body. I have the perception of heat and cold.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So especially if someone is in that stuck ice, I just feel icy. When they're releasing, it's very much volcano heat. My hands will burn, my feet, everything will burn.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because when I get sensations as well. So I'll get tightness or looseness.
Yes.
So when somebody's stuck in something, it'll tighten up. My throat will tighten up or my heart kind of closes or I can feel my pelvis moving in.
Yeah.
But when they're ready to release something, it opens up.
Yeah.
And same with when I'm holding acupressure points. What's really interesting is I'll be holding points and, sometimes you can hold them for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And there I am holding the point and all of a sudden I get this wave up my body of energy and it's like, whoosh, and I get really hot.
Yeah.
And I'll check in. It's like, are we done? And I go, yep, we're done. And that's it. So
it's those times you need the Pat Cash headband to capture all the sweat from pouring into your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk and share with my audience, Zoe isn't just a kinesiologist or just a liminal practitioner. She's amazing. She's had an incredible career. And I want to talk a little bit about, for 35 years, we were talking about this before, you actually were an events recreational coordinator and you helped out at the Olympics, Paralympics in Sydney 2000. You've got a couple of kids. You work have worked in the community field to support in an advocacy role for socially disadvantaged communities, working with intellectual disability. Like you've been around and
around the traps.
You've got a lot of experience holding space for people.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've not ever thought of it like that, but in actual fact, that's what I've been doing my whole life. I've been holding space. Yeah. And it's interesting because when I was 11, I changed space. I came from England to Australia when I was 11 years old.
Yeah.
And I always saw that as a huge adventure. And looking back in hindsight now, and I have been back to England, but looking back in hindsight, I can actually now see how the energy and the holding of that space is different.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about that. Is it easier in the UK or easier here in Australia?
It's easier here, I think. I mean, admittedly, I'm older now.
Yeah.
I am older now, and I came out when I was 11, so it was a huge adventure. I was a kid, coming across the other side of the world into something we had no idea what we were going to expect.
Yeah.
And, back then, that was 1978, you're told all sorts of stories of the kangaroos hopping down the main street and all that sort of thing. It's like, and like, I remember coming in and going, where's the kangaroos?
Yeah, I got jibbed here. They're bullshitting me. Yeah, we're a bit cheeky like that, aren't we?
But
what I find interesting, you're the same. I really find it, I struggle to hold the space that I do here, even in Victoria, in different states. So it's interesting how we ground into the space, especially where we live, and become very familiar with nature, that space that holds space for us as we work. That whole shamanic approach to, when we work, kinesiology is a fabulous modality that we don't just work on somebody's psyche, and this is for the audience who perhaps haven't had kinesiology before. We work physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. We work with you as a whole in your ability to be one with nature wherever you are. So that's really interesting.
Yes. And the beauty of the shamanic stuff, I can do that distantly as well. So I work online with that also, but with the distant stuff, what I do is I do the session as normal, and I request that spirit guides a playlist, and it might be 3 songs, it might be 5 songs, whatever it is, and they're just on random, and they just come up, and I trust that they're the ones that are needed. And then I put the healing into the playlist, and I send the playlist to the person, and they listen to it, and that's how they receive the healing through that.
Nice. Does someone have to have a spiritual belief for that healing to work?
No, they just have to have an intention.
Gotcha. So it's very similar to kinesiology. What do we want to get out of today? What do you want to be thinking and feeling at the end of the session? So isn't it interesting when we cross modalities, even in counselling? Okay, what have you brought with you today? What's the goal? Where do we want to be going? What's the path we're taking? That people like yourself and I, we hold space for those who we feel stuck in. And audience, we were talking before about places where, as individuals, where Zoe and I feel stuck right now. Like, just because we're prackies doesn't mean we don't have whoopsies or moments in our life where it's challenging. We're just lucky that we perhaps look at life a little differently and see, well, okay, where can I make a shift, or where can I love that part of me that feels off or not right a little more?
Yeah, absolutely. I get stuck. I go into those spaces of, I can't do this. And as soon as I'm there, I'm looking outward to go, oh, I had that idea and that person's now done that. I can't do that then. Or that person's done that and they've done it so well, there's no point. So I still got those moments.
We're going to work with your imposter.
And, you got to keep coming back to yourself and coming back to what's true and what actually feels right in the body.
But isn't it interesting how, that whole where we compare ourselves to others and believe we lower that vibration of our voice, that part of us that we put out to the world. For some reason, when we compare others and go, well, they've done it, I can't, it's like, well, actually, they can't do it like you can.
And nobody brings in the energy that you have.
No, and that's why we attract the people we attract.
Exactly.
Is the space that we're in. So isn't it interesting that I forgot, I've just had a brain fart then. We can talk about this all day. I'm looking at Zoe's qualifications here, and oh my Lord, they're very similar to mine. She's done a masterclass on assessing and correcting primitive reflexes. That's amazing when you can correct primitive reflexes. She's done Australian bushflower essences like myself, and she's done liquid crystal practitioner. What is liquid crystals? Tell me more about that.
Very similar to bushflower essences, but they use crystals. So the same sort of thing. It's a vibrational medicine. There's 72 crystals, and each of them has they actually work with a diva. They sit on there's 7 crystals per city on the Tree of Life. There are 11 cities on the Tree of Life. And they're basically they work in the same way. You take them as dose bottles.
Yep.
And they work with the energy and the emotions and the feelings within the body.
Love it. Clearly, I'm going to have to go and do that now because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting.
You've studied guided energy medicine, doing shamanic liminal field work, access bars. I've heard of this before. What is access bars?
Yeah, it's working with, you basically work with the head. So there's 32 points on the head and you hold these points in different combinations. And the idea is that as you're holding them, you're opening up the channels and the pathways for the body to heal and to expand and to shift consciousness.
Nice. Now, I know to the average listener, especially my husband and perhaps his male relatives, they listen to that and go, what a load of hokum. But I've seen a map with those points. Yeah. And they run along the suture lines of the cranial bones, so where those bones meet.
Right. Yeah.
And under those cranial bones are neural reflexes for all of our cognition, for our senses. So how we process the information we hear, smell, see, feel, and touch. Yeah. And then how our brain responds to that. So, and there would be meridian points, and there would be corresponding colon reflexes. So people go,
even just your brain hemispheres, if you touch at the back, you're going to be touching the pons or the cerebellum.
That's right. So people, when they say, oh, you're just touching the head, well, actually, when you want to talk science about things, you're pulling in a whole different array of different things. And if nothing else, drawing attention to allow blood to flow in that area in a balanced way.
Yes. Yeah.
Who doesn't need blood in their brain? I can think of a few. You've worked with kids like myself. You've done a number of short courses like myself. And here's where I really wanted to touch on. You're about to start training in emotional sovereignty and brain states. Oh, my God. Tell me about that.
So when I was studying with the Shamanic Academy, which was where I did my shamanic work, and that was over in America. So I was getting up at ungodly hours for a whole year. And there was an emotion coach in there, and he was also running this emotional sovereignty school. And I loved the way he taught, the way he held himself, how he was regulated. He talked about the three brain states of, the survival brain, the emotional brain, and the executive brain. And he talked about how you can recognize how a person is in that state, and therefore you know how to respond to them in a way that will calm them down.
Nice.
So if you've got somebody in the survival brain where they're sitting in fight flight, they're like a feral cat.
And
the last thing you want to go, that's right. The last thing you want to do is walk up to them and give them a big hug, because they'll scratch your eyes out. So
giving them an instruction, they're not able to follow through.
Yeah, because their nervous system is not actually open to receiving anything. So I feel like I've always worked with the emotions in the body and how they're stuck and how to navigate through them to kind of become more aware of them so that you can manage them yourself, because that way you are then in charge of your own self.
I love that.
Yeah, so with the kinesiology, the shamanic work, the access bars, even the primitive reflexes, behind all that there's emotions. And so getting to know the brain states, and therefore then the emotional sovereignty, where you come back to center, which is basically what emotional sovereignty is, coming back to that central sovereign line of who you are. It felt like it was the key to bring it all together.
I love that. I don't know how much you're into astrology, but this year in particular, in my clinical experience, there are so many people breaking away from their inherited or familiar family and societal patterns. And in one respect, being locked up during the pandemic really allowed for people to reclaim their sovereignty. So I love how you're making the connection here of bringing it back to you, but bringing it back to you is actually so much more than just feeling balanced within yourself.
Absolutely. Well, it's a ripple.
That's right. And
it's a ripple that goes through your family, through your community, and therefore through the world.
And I often explain this to especially families of neurodiverse children when they come in and the children is claimed to be naughty or can't regulate. In actual fact, when you work on one person in the family, I use the metaphor of, think of throwing a little skimming stone onto the pond and you see a little ripple where the stone went through the water. Yeah. But energetically, that ripple will go all the way to the edge of the water. So you are the pebble breaking through the surface of the water. Your family is the ripple and society is the shore.
Yes.
When you have enough people feeling emotionally sovereign or balanced in a calm space within themselves, imagine what the world could be like.
Mm. And remember, the stone doesn't stay on the surface.
No.
So you're not just doing a ripple out that way. As the stone drops, it's creating ripples under the water. Yeah. So you're actually clearing the depths. And in the shamanic work that I did, there is a belief that you will, when you clear a core belief or something that you're holding on to that you don't need, you'll clear it 7 generations back and 7 generations forward.
Nice.
So what I do now, I can clear me and I can be clearing my children's children.
Nice.
To not have the same beliefs and patterns of behavior.
Yeah, nice. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. So, audience, I want to ask you a question, and I'm always fascinated by the responses I get from these questions. What familiar or family pattern have you inherited that you've been working on that you would actually like to shift once and for all? Drop me a line. I'd love to hear what you think about that. Oh, we've just been talking about emotions and how to identify and release these. And what I've got in the show notes here is your passion of bringing people together so they don't feel alone. Amen. Hallelujah, sister. I love doing that. We were talking before, people, about Zoe holds or hosts a monthly gathering, a meditation gathering. Did I get that right?
Women's circles, basically.
Women's circle. Whew, so do I.
And I've also done a somatic experience as well. So beginning to change them a little bit up.
Nice. What do you see, or what do participants talk about those experiences?
It's been interesting. Everybody has said they love the altar. I always create a beautiful altar and everyone brings something in. And there was one time we worked on the flower moon, and I did it at a full moon time.
Yep.
And I bought some flowers. I just bought red, what are those big round ones like that are quite flat? I can't remember what they're called now. So I bought a bunch of those and we put them in the altar. And I gave everybody one of these flowers at the end of it. And everybody's flower, they took it home, they put it in a vase, and they were thinking, a week maybe it'll be dead.
Yeah.
Everybody's flower lasted until the next full moon. It was fabulous. Yeah, it was fabulous. Like the energy.
Just pumped all this energy into it.
Well, that's right. So anytime I do a circle, I get people to put something that they want the energy to be there for them to charge up in the circle.
Nice.
And people say that they connect with something that's different within them.
Yeah.
So my circles are always themed. And we have a theme for each circle, a similar sort of patterning, but then we'll talk about different concepts associated with the theme. I'll do a meditation often. And then this meditations are usually just channeled at the time. And then we'll have moments of sharing and connecting over tea and really just sort of bringing that space together of community.
But I do exactly the same. And what I wanted to share with my audience is when you answer the call of the invitation of coming together in a sacred space as a women's circle or as a people's circle even, what you don't realize is that you're all answering one aspect of that theme, and all of you will reflect something different to each other. So not only do you find your voice and get awareness of an aspect of this thing that you've brought with you to the circle, but you often get in so much a deeper insight because someone else will have a different language, different words, different ways of describing their reflection of they're in the same spot, either ahead, behind, or side by side, but with a different perspective to you that then enables you to go that bit deeper with that different awareness that is likened to where you're at. So these reflections from within the group are so powerful.
Yes,
And it's like
absolutely.
you're doing a year's worth of therapy sessions in one session.
Yeah.
I've had women come to these groups where they dropped weight, they changed jobs, they have made such profound changes in their life just from coming to, in quotes, a meditation class where we work in the heart.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Oh,
powerful.
it's lovely. It is. It's a beautiful space to be in. And for me, in clinic, I work quite creatively. I mean, I've got all sorts of things around here that I use. I've got my rainbow bottles, and I work a lot with the chakras as well. And that sense of color and the senses, I like to bring into every circle that I do. So there is always, through the theme, there is always a moment where the senses are heightened, and I love that because it brings me back into my inner child. So when I create a women's circle, I'm like, yay, I love this. I'm creating something to share from my heart.
I love that. We were talking before, audience, that, when we do these meditation experiences, we're getting out of our head into our heart. And Zoe's just touched on this. I love that I can share from my heart, but we don't realize that when we're feeling stuck, it's because we're not in our heart, we're stuck in our head.
Yeah.
And we do our best healing work when we can just sit quietly away from the routine, the family, the life. And even if it's, like a 90-minute meditation experience, you do a bit of psychotherapy, a bit of sharing, a bit of relaxation, and you realize, oh, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I'm not alone feeling these things, having these experiences, or I'm not alone in holding space for complete strangers and recognizing that I'm not the only one having pain or heartache or big stuff happen in my life. Sometimes just knowing that is a treatment in itself. You don't always have to go to clinic to work on your shizzle. You can go to that meditation experience once a month. I got a message from someone the other day who went to my alchemy one-day immersion last year, and she was talking about where she was before that and the changes she's made since, and embracing her sovereign self. Like, she stepped right out of the old version of herself. And she said, it was like I did a decade's worth of journey work in one day. I was like, wowzers, to be able to hold space for that. And I think as practitioners, we often underestimate the power of meditation and how someone's subconscious can run with, okay, I've now got a new program I can input into my nervous system and my energy systems and create meaningful change.
Yes. Yeah.
So much power in that.
It's really interesting. When I was doing the primitive reflex training, one of the things we sort of closed off with, it was just almost like a little sideline thing, was how much can your body handle at one time? Can you absorb 5 different things at once, or can you only absorb one? And if you can only absorb one, then we need to expand the capacity of your body to be able to handle more things at once. And it was such a simple approach. And I was looking at, and that I was the actual guinea pig on the table for that one. And I had to kind of shake a hand and shake another hand. And I think I got to 2 or 3 things that I could like multitask at once with 2 or 3.
Yes.
And by the end of that, after we had that little demonstration, I think I could multitask 4 or 5 different things at once.
Yep. So for my audience, please explain perhaps the sensations, thoughts, or feelings you had before that was balanced or corrected or something was done.
I wasn't even aware of it.
Wow. So
I just thought, I'm handling. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. That's fine. That's enough. That's what I can cope with, and that's fine. That's enough.
yeah.
But after I had that done, it was like
What did you notice? Tell me.
it was like a veil had been lifted off my brain.
Yes.
So it was almost like the fog that sits around you, and you kind of like go, oh, I've got to do that. I've got to do that. And oh, I've got this whole list in my head.
Yeah.
It was almost like the lifts had been ripped up,
Yeah.
and I just knew what needed to be done, and I was capable of doing it.
Nice. I often find myself explaining in clinic, bringing people's conscious awareness to what their body signals are.
Yeah.
And, what's the signal or sensation now? Oh, it's tight, or it's heavy, or it's oof, or it's I'm off. And what people then recognize is, before we even go, and I know you would be the same, Zoe, just from the conversations we've had today,
Yeah.
that part of our role as being a kinesiology practitioner or holding space for someone is to give them that awareness at a conscious level. I can't do more than one thing right now, or this is challenging what I'm juggling.
Yeah.
And if I had the capacity to put it all down, how much would I actually turn around and pick up again? And more often than not, if we could gift ourselves that opportunity to just get that snapshot to become aware of the juggle sometimes, and more often than not, is too much.
Yes.
And here's the invitation of, what would life be like if you could just juggle one thing at a time?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really interesting that, because sometimes, because we're in it, you often don't know what you want to let go of.
Yeah.
And I get so many ideas. It's like, oh, that'd be a great idea. Write that down. Put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. And I don't do anything with them. They're great pages of ideas, and I put them away into a cupboard. And every now and then I'll open it, and it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. And yet it's almost, now it feels like I'm getting poked on the shoulder. Hey, here's an idea. What do you want to do with it? Don't put it away. Either act on it or throw it out.
I say to people, don't put it in a cupboard, put it in an ideas book. Because I know, for me, being neurodivergent, when the cycle has me on, like as I'm coming out of a full moon, I'm about to become super creative.
Yeah.
And I know leading into the full moon, I'm super sloth-like, and I've learned to honor that.
Yes.
Don't sign contracts. Don't make yourself perform. Just go slow, sit in the washing machine and become agitated. Yeah. And as I come out of that and I become super creative, I'll go back through my ideas book. And I've often created a self-paced learning program in 2 hours, because I've gone, oh, here, I've Post-it note all the things from 5 different books and gone, oh, look, it's actually all here.
Yes.
It's in a jumbled, chaotic mess, because that's often how my ADHD brain works.
Yeah.
And then the autistic traits kick in. It's like, let's order this and structure it like Sheldon would. Dun, 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 boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it comes back to this whole liminal. If I trust that I've downloaded all of the right bits of information, then it comes together.
Yeah. It's funny, that's how I tend to do my plan my women's circles.
Same.
I don't, like, I'll get the date, I'll get the theme, I'll do the humanities thing to get the tickets out there.
Yeah.
But I don't actually plan anything. I just sit with it and I just allow it to come in. And, I might go, oh, that would be a great song for the women's circle, and I'll write it down. Or be like, actually, I need to go and get some of these for that, because that will be useful. So, or I'll be like, oh, I can actually see how the altar looks like now. And so I know how it looks. And but they drip in. It's like these little things, little pearls that drip in, I
think if it all came at once like a dump truck, we'd go into overwhelm in the suit.
So, but I don't sit down and plan it. I allow it to appear, and I kind of surrender into, okay, well, you'll tell me when it's ready. And sometimes it's been the day of the women's circle and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, boom, 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 boom. And there it is. And I go,
there it is.
Great. Okay.
Good.
I now, that's fine. I'll run with that. And luckily I'm quite good at winging it on the spot. So I can work that way. Yeah.
Nice. I've absolutely loved chatting with you. Let's wrap this up with, what are you grateful for in life right now?
I think for me, I am grateful for my freedom. When I first started my business, it was like, oh, it's 9 to 5 and that's how you work. Oh, I better do a Saturday because people will want to do Saturday. But now it's kind of like, no, I'm happy with, 10 to 15 clients a week. I'm going to start my day at 10, not 9. I'm going to have some times off and I'm going to finish at 6. I'm not going to go over, and that's not negotiable because I don't want to work in the evenings. So I've allowed that time, and what's happened in that freedom from the structure, I've actually been able to get closer to me. So I've built my trust in myself because of that, because I've given myself
sovereignty.
Time. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. What is the book currently on your bedside table? If I read here, you got 6.
I've probably got more than 6, to be honest. I have a lot of books on my bedside table.
Same, I've got about 15.
I have to say, I've probably not read all of them or even opened them yet.
Yep.
But I have been reading one called The Presence Process. I've also been reading one called Breathe, which is a fabulous book. Both of them are halfway through, and I probably haven't picked them up for about a month.
And that's okay.
Yes, but what I tend to be, I was also started to read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. So I've got that one in my clinic space. But what I tend to do with a lot of my books in the clinic is I use them as references. So I don't read them front to back cover. I pick them up when I need it. I'll open a page and I'll read that, and it'll go, oh, that would be good for this client, or that would be great for the women's circle. And so I use them as references more than sitting down and reading a book front to back.
Same. I'll tell you a funny story. My historical teacher, the late Andrew Verity, said, you don't have to read a book cover to cover. Here's what you do. And he grabbed a book and he flicked it from front to end, forwards, flicked it backwards all the way to the start, turned it upside down, flicked it front, flicked it back. He goes, that's now stored in your nervous system.
I like
then
that.
You stick it in your reference section. So I've had books in clinic where I've not read them, but every new book I get, I just whack it into the library.
Yeah.
I've had a client come in, muscle test it. Oh, you need a book. Okay, what book do you need? Okay, I haven't read this one yet. Okay, you need page 286. Okay, paragraph. Oh, paragraph 3. And they looked at me and go, how do you know I need that book? I went, I don't know. I don't even know what's in this book. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Read it out. They burst into tears. How did you know that? And I went, your body knew that.
Yeah.
And I've just got it as a resource in the archives.
Yes.
I don't need to know.
We underestimate the capacity of our nervous system, our body. Yes. We don't listen to our body. We sit in our head and it's like, okay, get out of your head at least if you can for half an hour a day. Get out of your head and just do something for your body.
Yeah. If you can sit in your heart for 10 minutes, there's now so much science, from Heart Math Institute. Sit in your heart, you'll regulate your nervous system, you will improve your cognitive capacity. There's so much into that. I love that. I've loved this conversation. All right, tell me, Zoe, what is your favorite way to manifest or create what you want?
I talk with my spiritual team to see what I need at the time. So often that's just in terms of like, I'll just write something down, or I'll type something up, or I go into shamanic state and chat with my team.
Nice.
But I think for me, it's about that trust.
Yeah.
And it's about going, does this feel right in my body? Yeah. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, it's like, okay, get curious with that, because obviously there's something there, because it wouldn't be there otherwise.
Yeah.
There's something for me there, but it just doesn't feel right now.
Yeah.
And perhaps there's a down the track. So you kind of park it. So when I manifest stuff, for me, it's about how it feels in the body.
Yeah. I add to that. And when I have that sensation like I've got this week, knowing something's off or not right, or I'm not centered, I'm shedding, I'm letting go of all that I knew.
Yeah.
I'll send love to future me who knows exactly where they're at, and just put some credits into the account. Here's some extra love.
Yeah.
Here's some extra love, knowing whatever it is you're going to need it. And here's from the past to the future, and just value it. And I get the sense you do that too. Tell me, what's your favorite tip for living the abundant life? And I think you've touched on this, talking about the work-life balance you have, being connected to your emotional sovereignty.
I think when people talk about an abundant life, they think money.
Yeah.
They instantly go on, am I successful? Have I got enough money? Can I do all the things that I want to do?
Yeah.
I see an abundant life is, do I feel whole?
Yeah.
Do I come from the heart? Am I doing something creative every day? Do I feel happy in who I am? Yeah. And can I sit into a space where, if all that is happening, can I trust that the rest of the shit's going to get sorted out? I was like, don't worry about success.
Yeah.
Don't worry about success and money and where are you going to live, and does this boffin down the road who annoys you, what's going to happen to them? Like, just be with you and connect with you and feel true to you.
Yeah.
And allow the rest of it just to fall in place, because that will happen when you are abundant in yourself.
Wise words there, Zoe. I have loved talking with you today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, in the show notes will be all of Zoe's contact details. As always, there's regular inspirational posts on my social media pages. Simply search for me using the links in the show notes below. To grow my podcast audience, it helps me immensely. If you could hit the follow button, I'd be so, so grateful. Thank you in advance for sharing this episode within your own friends, family, and change tribe. And I hope it generates a fire of loving support and proactive discussion of how you can take charge of your journey steps throughout life, regardless of the challenges that life experience brings you. I'm your podcast host, Kaz Humphries, aka The Change Chick. The I Am Changing podcast is a reminder that we can all choose to change and bloom from within. Zoe, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kaz. It's been great talking to you.
Likewise.